Is federal contracting for you? Some facts about federal contracting is that it's one of the largest agencies in the world that procures products and services. Over $1 billion in opportunities that take place within government contracting each and every day. The federal government signs over 11 million contracts a year. That's a significant amount of contracts and opportunities for small businesses to be able to do work with the federal government. And approximately 95% of federal contracts are awarded to small and medium-sized businesses. Again, there are thousands of contracting opportunities available each day. Some advantages to working in the government contracting space is that they pay extremely well, and they typically tend to pay on time. Also, it gives you as the small business the ability to strengthen relationships. And also, there's a set-aside business program, SBSA, which was developed to assist small businesses are for being awarded in terms of having a fair process to procure goods and services through this platform that the federal government has created. In any contract that has anticipated dollar value between $2,500 and $100,000 in value is reserved for small disadvantaged, women-owned, and small veteran-owned businesses. So that's extremely exciting information for those of you who fit that criteria, okay? And the Small Business Association administers business assistance programs for small disadvantaged businesses called 8A, which helps small businesses compete in the American economy and access the federal procurement market. So one thing that's important to note, everyone, is that by you being a small business or wanting to operate in this space as a small business, you are the very fabric of the success of our country. And that's extremely important because that's why you see so many different programs designed to stimulate small businesses, because you make our economy go. Less than 5% of businesses in the United States tend to do business with the U.S. government. There are approximately 9.1 women-owned businesses, in which employs approximately 27 to 28 million people and contribute to almost $4 trillion to the economy. Again, you know, the truth is in the numbers. You know, small businesses really thrive and really get our economy going. Minority-owned businesses have nearly doubled in the past 2 decades, and that was reported through the Office of Advocacy of U.S. Small Business Administration that shows minorities own nearly 15% of American businesses. The government procures services ranging from food services to janitorial projects to construction projects to, you know, just a multitude of different areas in which a small business can also thrive in. All right, so when you're getting ready to do business within the federal marketplace, one of the first things that you want to do is be honest with yourself. You want to make it a true assessment of your business, and is your business truly ready to take on, you know, federal contracting? In many instances, many federal, you know, contracting opportunities, they want you to have what's called past performance, which is approximately 2 years of this past performance. So if you have that, and you know that you have the framework within your organization to exceed expectations, then go for it. At the same time, you have to remember your name is everything. So any and everything that you do, you're putting not only your personal name out there, but your company name as well. So really evaluate to see if you are truly ready to go into federal contracting. The second thing is that you want to analyze your internal SWOT analysis. And the acronym SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And this is really vital because you want to assess your team. Even if it's just one person, you still want to identify what their strengths are, maybe what some of your weaknesses are, where the opportunities are at within your industry, and then where are the threats. And by doing this, it allows you to be proactive versus being reactive. For example, if you're someone that's, has a weakness in being organized, maybe we need to delegate responsibility as the CEO or an executive within the company to someone that is better organized than you are, right? So these are some components within the internal SWOT analysis, okay? Another key point, financing. Are you okay with being paid in arrears? For many government contracting opportunities, you'll be paid 30 to 45 days after performing services. And what's really an important factor in this is that you have the team, the infrastructure to be able to be organized so you can submit your invoices on time, because we want to ensure that you get paid on time. Okay. Another key indicator is that, do you have emergency funds? A general rule in which I like to share with my clients is that there's 6 to 9 months of emergency funds for your business. And the reason why I like to use 6 to 9 months is because it gives you the ability to work on a project, and if you're still being paid in arrears or waiting to be paid, it gives you the opportunity to still work on another project as well without, overextending, your funds and your team. Okay. And another point is that, can you be on time when submitting your invoices and completing projects? Again, if you want to have a successful and a sustainable business enterprise, we want to make sure that we're organized. We want to make sure that we're representing, ourselves in the best light possible. And again, that means submitting your invoices in a timely manner and exceeding expectations or the projects that your business will be in pursuit of. Now, focusing your business approach. It's really important when going through the federal contracting space or any contracting space in that matter, to do your due diligence. Again, being proactive. You want to ensure that you read and understand what is required for the RFP, for example. You want to also be able to do walkthroughs, attend, bidders calls before the RFP closes, and address questions to fully and completely understand what's going to be needed for that particular contract, as well as informing key personnel within your team. And by informing key personnel within your team, it gives you the ability to have other eyes on the particular RFP. You might come up with some additional questions. You might also be able to come up with some innovative answers as well. And so remember, you want to truly understand your SWOT analysis by being able to work with others so they can, again, help your business become sustainable and successful. Okay. Execution. Again, your actions are everything. You want to make sure that when you have a project, that you understand that project completely, and that you not only meet the level that's needed to complete the project, but I always like to go above and beyond the call. And that means being organized, that means, being in communication, all those types of things, okay? And remember, I'm gonna go back just one note to subcontracting. That's an excellent opportunity for you to get your foot in the door if you're a new business, or if you're an existing business as well, right? When you're working with primes, it gives you the opportunity to work on larger projects. You're able to share information. It can also help your business minimize, your risk. You can become more cost efficient. And subs can also provide various expertise for primes. And so that might open another door for you in terms of being able to have a consulting opportunity within your own business. Also, by subcontracting, it allows you to increase your overall productivity and revenue, And oftentimes you have fewer legal obligations as it relates to being in the subcontracting space, okay? And depending on the project, there's no long-term commitments. So you do your part and you're out, and you get paid and you go on to the next. And so as a subcontractor, by you having and building an extremely great relationship and exceeding these standards, it gives you the opportunity to stay in good terms with that prime. So when they have upcoming projects, they're thinking of your company. And I would recommend verbalizing in terms of communication with that prime, as well as following up with that prime, whether it's thanking them for the opportunity via email or sending a card. Those things go a long way as it relates to building a relationship as a subcontractor while you're working for a prime. Okay. Identify resources, key team members, and resource partners. So when you're going through and you're getting prepared to do business in a federal, government, marketplace, you want to ensure that if you have a staff or a team of individuals assisting you, that you seek out individuals who want to ascend within your company, or who are very organized, who are extremely responsible, who are not afraid to have difficult conversations. And I put that note in there because, things happen in the contracting arena just like anything else in life. And so you want to make sure that you're going to be able to delegate responsibility to someone who has the opportunity to, if they made a mistake, to have that difficult conversation with you, so the both of you or the team can work together to come to the best possible solution and overcoming, that mistake, right? And that's a sign of success. That's a sign of building a strong team, right? You also want to, have individuals who are key members on your team that are problem solvers, right? You may not be able to always be available, so it's imperative that you have, again, individuals and team members that are extremely proactive, that they know that you have the confidence that they're acting in the best interest of the overall organization. And that's fulfilling, right? That gives you the peace of mind and allows you to maximize your opportunity costs to figure out other ways to grow your business, opposed to focusing on some other tasks that you can delegate that responsibility to, okay? Provide continued research related to the specific field. Again, that's identifying someone who you trust that can seek out additional opportunities, right? You want individuals who can attend events if you're unable to attend, that you trust, that you consider valued employees, and let them know that you value their efforts, right? I can't stress that enough, right? When you're operating a business and you're operating from a perspective to grow and to ascend, it's extremely imperative that you have the ability to work with individuals that can give you that positive feedback that's needed, and also be able to have your company ascend, okay? And you want to work with individuals who are not afraid to ask questions, right? And that's not only from their perspective to you directly, but that's also identifying, and asking questions to different resource partners, as well as other contractors, employees, and, Norcal PTAC, our team. So you want a resourceful individual that you know and trust. So pulling together what is needed for the federal marketplace, are you comfortable with your business structure? Oftentimes there are many small businesses in which, they're sole proprietorships, LLCs, S corporations, C corporations, nonprofits. When you're doing business in the federal marketplace, I always like to recommend that you actually have a recognizable business entity set up within the state that you're located in. For example, I'm in California, so I would say, worst case scenario, you want to have at least an LLC. And the reason for that is because if something were to happen and you were to be sued, I would want your business to be sued versus, you or your personal assets be at risk, right? So there is a cost obviously associated with, structuring, this recognizable business entity within the state of California. For example, an LLC is $800 annually, and it's typically due the fourth month on the 15th day of being in operation, or April 15th. And for an S corporation, for example, it's 1.5% of your gross profit, or at a minimum $800, right? But at least this way, everything that you've worked so hard for in terms of your personal assets, they're protected, and it gives you the ability to have a recognizable, business structure. And oftentimes, a lot of primes, they prefer that as well, okay? And the next point is obtain your EIN number. This is an extremely, very quick process. You can go to irs.gov and type in EIN number. I do it, I assist clients all the time when they're, getting their EIN number, and it takes me about 4 minutes. So it would probably take, anyone else maybe 5 minutes or so to be able to get that. Again, it's an extremely quick process. And step number, for your DUNS number, which is also a very quick process, typically you can get it within a day or so. Now, the advantages that our members for our Norcal PTAC team have is that we have the ability to essentially get immediate DUNS numbers for some of the clients in which we work with. We can get it on the same day by calling in a special number and being able to get that DUNS number for our clients. And again, you want to make sure that you're maximizing your resources, right? Time is money, right? So we want to make sure that you put all those efforts into maximizing your resources so you can generate, that business sustainability and business success that you so desire, okay? And then find and verify your NAICS codes. NAICS codes are codes that are given that allow you to create descriptions for the services in which you provide in the federal marketplace, right? So you don't necessarily have to have one, you can have several or dozens, right? If it applies to what it is that you do. Next slide, James. So start and complete your SAM registration, right? You want to make sure all your information matches, right? And if you need assistance, you want to make sure that you would seek out that assistance before starting this process. Typically, when you're getting to the point where you want to register for SAM, what happens is it's a process, and you want to make sure that you have like your DUNS number, your EIN number, your NAICS codes have been identified, your PSC codes, which is like your product service codes, your CAGE codes, and what your CAGE code is the commercial and government entity code. It's a unique identifier assigned to suppliers to various government agencies, and essentially it identifies businesses and their location, right? So you could have a prime, for example, or other entities seeking out your services through this particular code, okay? And within that SAM registration, you want to try and make sure that you update your SAM registration, I would say every 6 months or so. And again, maybe this is someone within your team that has the ability to do this, because if any information changes, you definitely want to make sure that your SAM code has your SAM has been updated. Okay. What else we have? And step 2, or next bullet point, it talks about creating a web page specifically for federal contracting. When you are operating in that federal contracting arena, right, I like to keep things simple and not overcomplicate the process. So if you have the ability to either have a specific tab that focuses on federal contracting, that's great. Or if you have an actual website specifically for those federal contracting opportunities, that is also great, okay? Because it gives, the individuals in which you want to work for direct access and they don't have to fish around for, information that they don't necessarily need, but they can get to exactly what they want to identify, for your company. Okay, and there are a few other things that it can ultimately benefit you as well. But again, you want to make sure that the information that you have on your website, essentially matches the information that you might have on your capability statement and within SAM. And some of the information that, you're going to have in SAM, going back a little bit, that I failed to mention earlier, is that you want to ensure that you have like your business bank account numbers, your routing numbers. You want to have total annual receipts for the number of employees that you have for the last 2 or 3 years. So these are some things that are extremely crucial when going through that process. And again, identifying who's going to be the main point of contact. And as simple as it seems, you want to make sure that you always have someone that can exuberate excellent customer service, and they're professional when they're answering the phone and communicating with others. Okay. Now, in terms of creating your capability statement, we have a hyperlink here that you can click on. Norcal PTAC has a wide array of different services and different workshops on capability statements specifically. And again, you want to ensure that information matches what's in your SAM registration and about your company. And some of that information can include things such as your corporate information, point of contact, or who's the CEO of the company, some of the NAICS codes that you would have listed, your DUNS number, and maybe some past performance in terms of some of the organizations that you've worked with in the past. And that gives the contracting officer or whomever else would be looking at this information the ability to see specifically how your company can assist them. Okay. Next slide, please. All right. So currently right now we have within our society, different things happening, such as COVID-19. Some of the, key points and facts that I wanted to highlight during this time is that I wanted you all to know the government is still buying. They're still open for business, and their main focus is on essential items and emergency declarations. When you are doing business within the federal marketplace, you want to make sure that you're checking off everything that needs to be checked off, so you can make their lives easier and you can make your lives easier, right? So when you're identifying opportunities, you want to make sure, for example, you're registered in SAM. You want to make sure that you go through all the proper protocols as it relates to being able to create your company to have the best possible chance to get work, right? So some of the impacts in terms of COVID-19, to just keep in mind that even though, this pandemic is impacting our society, that the government is still open for business, okay? There are several things which I can go into on a private chat about the COVID-19 impacts, but you want to make sure that your business, again, is registered in SAM. There's a disaster response registry within that process to do business with any federal agency, and you want to opt in. And with, I believe it says within the assertions tab, you have to go through the entire SAM registration process again and follow the prompts as it is presented, and then you can submit. Okay, and that again allows your business to be available. Okay, and something else that I want to highlight as well. For some reason, if your business cannot fulfill the contractual duties that you currently have due to COVID-19, step one I would say is contact the contracting officer as soon as possible. And while doing that, you also want to review your contract for FAR clauses. And FAR is basically, it's FAR, and that stands for Federal Acquisitions Regulation. And these regulations are governing all acquisitions and contracting procedures in the federal government, right? So there may be clauses that can allow you to get out of that particular contract. But again, you want to communicate and contract the contracting officer verbally and in writing. And if you're a subcontractor, you want to contact the prime as well. So that's just something that's really important that you want to do, because remember, your name is everything. You want to make sure that you are always representing your business and yourself in the best possible light, okay? Another key point or tip is to be innovative, have energy, send emails, pick up the phone, attend events, ask for participation or support. So if you're an organization or if you're a company, a small business that is active in the community and you're a subcontractor for a prime, don't be afraid to, communicate with them and ask them for support. Or if there's something that they're doing that you want to be involved with, you want to go about it in a way that you let them know that, hey, we want to support, your initiatives, or we want to be able to be there for you, whether that's, volunteering, or whether that's, making a contribution to a youth soccer team, or whatever that looks like. You want to let them know that you're extremely engaged in terms of working with them, okay? And that helps, again, build a relationship. Another tip for obtaining federal contracts is that you really want to focus on your area of expertise, right? So if you're in a specific industry, such as construction, for example, I would say focus on construction and not necessarily look at, procuring the government with toilet paper, for example, right? You want to ensure that you are confident, knowing that you can do the job and that you understand what's needed. And that's, again, focus on your area of expertise. Identify and understand your client. You want to do some research. Anyone that, you potentially want to be a subcontractor for, or that you want to ascend to be similar to, put in some time and do some research, have discussions with your team about it and see how you can collectively all work together so you can, take the necessary steps to help your company ascend, okay? And you want to understand, how they like to work. Are they on time completing projects? What does that look like? So we want to kind of peel the onion a little bit and really see how we can make positive impacts. And again, all this is designed to help you build relationships with your client, because the better you understand, your client, the stronger, the relationship can potentially be, okay? Next slide, please. Some additional tips is don't overcomplicate the process. You want to be able to utilize, again, your resources, utilize your team. You want to ensure that you have the ability to do the job to the best of your abilities. So maximize your opportunity costs, reach out to whoever you need to reach out to, and keep the process simple as it can be, okay? Another tip is collaborate with primes and other small businesses. I kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier, but again, collaboration is so important, especially when you're trying to get your foot in the door. Being able to take an opportunity as a subcontractor, for example, and then being able to create that relationship and grow that relationship to where you get consistent business. Personally, I have clients that, started out as subs, and some of them are still subs, but they've attached themselves to a great prime, and they can consistently, work with, those primes when other projects come about, and again, it's all about relationship building and exceeding expectations, okay? Another tip is understand what is already working. If you are doing, things that are just great already, right, then keep doing those things, right? You want to still be proactive and communicate with your team and see how we can improve processes. But specifically, You want to make sure that you continue to do what you have been doing if it's working, okay? Next slide, please. Some additional tips would be embrace technology. You know, we live in a technologically age now where we can access information from various types of mediums. For example, today we're on a call, you know, but we're not in the same room, right? So embrace technology, and if you don't know how to embrace the technology or know how to use it, again, reach out to your NorCal PTAC counselor, reach out to us, and so we can direct you in the proper way or proper direction so we can assist you with your business being able to ascend, because your success is our success. Your challenges are our challenges. So allow us to help you grow your business, okay? And maximize your SEO. SEO is search engine optimization. So if someone were to Google your business, for example, we want you to come up on that first page. We don't want you to come up on page, 3, 4, or 5, right? So let's figure out ways to increase and maximize your SEO, okay? Ensure your company is participating in social media for your industry. Now, this is extremely challenging for a lot of small businesses and some of my clients that I have as well. Some of the things that I recommend doing, if this is a challenge for you, is to start with, for example, assigning someone to social media. Then the next step is to start trying to post something once or twice a week, right? And then the next step would be to continue to grow that process to where you're involving, social media and the viewers of your social media to see what's going on within your company, whether that's success stories, whether that's previous projects or current projects, maybe that's collaboration with various other companies. So these are things that you want to share within your company, okay? And understand your competition, right? So if you have competition out there, which we all do, you want to know what they're doing well and what they're not doing so well, right? So take out some time to be able to do that research and have some best practices discussions around how can we maybe change what they're doing and make it and make it positively impactful for our organization. Okay. The next tip is: are you promoting or advertising your business? So if you don't want to use technology, for example, what other ways can you promote and advertise your business? Maybe that's attending events. Maybe that's, picking up the phone, making phone calls. Maybe that's, simply contacting, contracting officers, right? So even if you're not awarded a particular contract that you bidded on, find out, why you didn't win that. That's your right to do that, okay? It's very important to, again, be proactive and explore why something didn't happen or why it did happen, right? So you want to put your company in the best possible light, okay? The next tip talks about follow up with your previous clients. By following up with your previous clients, they might share, potential opportunities with you. They may also try to keep you in the loop of what's going on with them, whether that's transitions or expansion, whatever that looks like. That's why you want to do that, right? And don't be afraid to do that. Even if you didn't win a contract and opportunity, I would still, notate that within, your calendar, so that way, possibly the following year rolls around, you're prepared to bid on that opportunity again, right? And this time when you bid, you're more prepared. Okay. Next slide, please. So take action towards your business vision, right? Again, I've mentioned it several times about being proactive, which is key. Having a schedule, not only for yourself personally, but for your team as well. Now, I'm not telling you to micromanage your team if that's not your style, but what I am saying is you should know, what's going on within the dynamics of your organization. And I think things such as cross-training is imperative, being able to know what tasks have been assigned, when the when the deadline is due for certain opportunities, all those things you want to have a strong grip on in terms of being the CEO of your small business. Being flexible, right? Consistently seek ways to improve your business. Again, we talked about best practices, communicating with your team, maybe individuals who are on the front line, those types of things, so you can get some additional ideas and discover ways to positively impact your business. Manage capacity. You know, you want to understand, do you actually have the financial and staff capacity to exceed the expectations that the contractor has for you? And what does that look like? Again, if you're a construction company and you pour concrete and, you know, you have a 10-mile project, for example, on a freeway or whatever that looks like, and you have a staff of 2 or 3, then we have to look at some other areas in terms of getting, you know, some 1099 individuals to help you with that particular project, right? Because that can be quite cumbersome for 2 or 3 people to be able to do that in a tight window or a tight period of time, okay? And again, another tip is keeping your clients aware of your business's work and community involvement. There are so many small businesses that do so much good within our society. That information is not shared, frequently enough. And so I truly recommend that you get others involved and you try to pull them in and be able to work in concert with you towards, you know, your community involvement efforts and making your business become more aware, not only to them, but also to the community as well, right? Because there's so many different opportunities that can, you know, come about from that, okay? Next slide, please. All right. We briefly talked about, you know, creating a website specifically for contracting. So I won't dive too much into that because we already kind of talked about it. Some other things that you can do in terms of tips is create a YouTube channel. And you want to make sure this is professionally produced, right, by, you know, a videographer or something like that. So it comes off really clean, really good. So others can view your company as someone that, you know, having extreme professionalism, being able to properly articulate yourself well, and be able to show what it is that your company does that makes your company, you know, extremely valuable potentially to them, okay? And seek out professional assistance. Again, you want to maximize your resources. When I meet with clients and I have one-on-ones with clients, I always mention BAIL team. And essentially that acronym stands for, it's BAIL, and it's having a banker, having, you know, an attorney there, you know, you have insurance, you have a lawyer, you know, so these folks, these different, you know, components of that BAIL team help you become successful. At the same time, utilize, you know, our services, utilize Norcal PTAC. Our services are free. You know, there are so many different, you know, websites out there that want to charge you for certain things, such as if you register for DUNS, you know, they'll try to sign you up for something. That DUNS number, again, is free, you know, so by communicating with Norcal PTAC team members, we'll be able to point you and lead you in a direction to where you're maximizing your efforts, potentially saving yourself some money, and also putting yourself in the best situation to become a sustainable and successful business. Get a mentor. You know, maybe, you know, you have, you're in an industry where, you know, you know others that are in a similar industry and they have some similar experience. You know, lean on them. You know, you'll be surprised what information can be shared and communicated with you to help you grow your business. Again, lean on those primes, right? Find out what they're doing, what upcoming projects there are. Some of these large primes, their projects are posted in papers, their projects are online, you see it on the news. So stay in the know. Again, be proactive, right? And discover new resources and processes to really help your business evolve. And that could be something, for example, such as software, right? Software, you know, being used within your company can help you stay organized, can help you with, you know, payroll processes, all of these different things. You want to be proactive, and again, lean on your team, ask them what's working, you know, where we can improve, because if you have a great relationship with your team members, they'll help you design the best version of your company because they're on the front lines oftentimes. Okay. Next slide, please. So that's my presentation, and thank you.
All right, thank you everyone, and then a huge thanks to Charles Thomas for giving that excellent presentation. Now we've got some time for Q&A. We were set a bit back by our technical difficulties, but we will get some Q&A time here. And people have been entering questions into the chat window feature. So I'll go ahead and get to reading those right now. And Charles, if you have access, you can read along as well. So we have a good number of questions. Get through here. So Kendra is asking, I provide health and wellness programs, which informational interviews with military personnel indicate are very needed. Where can I find the opportunities for these behind-the-scenes services? They aren't listed as SBIR topics. So do you, well, to address that, I would say, do you know of, or have you heard of any other similar businesses providing those types of services to that specific organization, right? And if not, then I would, again, reevaluate you're looking at NAICS codes to see where you could potentially fit and see how you can make your business more attractive, right? So that's one tip that I would actually, try to utilize. All right, and Robert is asking, you had mentioned about 8A spending 2,500 to 100,000. How can we tap into that? Will it show up on SAM.gov if you provide some insight into that? If you could provide some insight into that, please.
So in terms of 8A spending, I know with everything going on in terms of COVID-19, that is, I believe, potentially temporarily suspended. What I would say is, if you send me a direct email, what I can do is get that information specifically for you, and then I'll be able to follow up with you with that information.
If you need Charles's email, you can email me at info@norcalptac.org, which is on the banner there. Moving on to the next question. Maxine Wyman is asking, I provide technical writing consulting services. How can I identify subcontracting opportunities?
So I would look at and see what type of, codes or how that's coded in terms of, the NAICS codes, and to see what organizations have previously utilized those services in the past. And by doing that, what that gives you the opportunity to then do is follow up with that organization to get a little bit more insight and to see how often or how frequent those services are even needed.
Mark Griffiths is asking, where do we register for our CAGE code? Charles?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that again?
Mark Griffiths is asking, where do we register for a CAGE code? That would be sam.gov, right?
Correct. You would go through SAM to register for that. It's automatically given on the website if you don't have one already.
All right. Celio Mills is asking, I provide technical project management consulting services and training. How do I identify subcontracting opportunities?
So I would look at organizations in which she potentially, that CBO would want to work with. And then you can either contact them directly through that, and also look at past RFPs potentially with a similar NAICS code to see what those opportunities actually look like, to see if, if that particular business will qualify for those opportunities.
All right, thank you. Kendra asked, how can we assess whether our service actually falls under disaster response? My programs help prevent and reverse chronic conditions that magnify mortality in COVID patients. So it seems like it might be indirectly helpful. How aggressive should we be in promoting our solution as disaster response?
That's a really good question. What I can do is see if I can do a little research on that, because I know that we have different resource partners and those types of things that have opportunities out there. But if you send me a direct email, I'll see what I can find out for you on that, Kendra.
Great. Mark Griffiths asks once again, is there a specific part in the marketplace to look for subcontracting work?
Is he specifically referring to what on that? Is there a particular website, or is there what specifically?
All right, Mark, you're welcome to clarify that question. We'll get back to you. Monica McCafferty.
Sorry, I was just Mark Griffiths. I was just asking, like, I've only registered for services here in California. I haven't registered with the federal government, and I don't know if in the federal government platform you can see bids, or you can see options for subcontractors, or if you recommend another website where maybe prime companies post subcontracting bids or work options.
So there, I do know when you, I'm not sure how they have it still, but when you go through, there's PSC codes, it's like product service codes that, you can type in, you can go, I don't remember or can't recall the exact website right now. But again, I can get that specific website for you too if you just send an email to James. But you can put in your PSC code to see what those what area that is for your specific information that you're seeking, and then you can enter that code. Like, for example, if you are a pharmacist or you selling pharmacy products, you can type that in on that particular website, and then it'll be able to give you some additional information.
Okay, thank you.
All right, great. Monica McCafferty is asking, as a lighting distributor, can we work as a sub?
As a lighting distributor. I'm not 100% sure about that, Monica. If a prime is seeking, your services, then absolutely, right? But I would say you would need to do that research so you can identify, if your services are in need.
All right. Sehul is from decizone.com is describing their service that allows you to streamline processes using interactive decision trees. How do we effectively reach government buyers? I guess it's sort of a variation on a theme of question here.
Hi, this is Sehul, can I clarify a little bit?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, so we are a software as a service. It's an online platform. And one of the challenges that that I have faced is in the bid opportunities that we see. By the way, Norcal PTAC does a great job at sending us those every day, that's there's a lot of them that come, but the ones that we get, it is very often very difficult to really understand what the requirement is. You have to kind of go 4 or 5 layers deep in the links to figure out exactly what the project is, like what are they even looking for. There's so much boilerplate in the beginning that it's difficult to actually go through and process the bids and the description. and I'm not sure if I'm the only one facing this issue, but you know, it kind of feels like it's purposely kind of hidden inside somewhere so that not many people will go. Although you guys are doing a great job at surfacing those opportunities, I'm just wondering how it would be easier, especially, you know, we are not the the providers where it's very clear that, you know, this is for construction, or we are a software provider, and while it's applicable to a lot of the departments inside government, it's not clear how we can see these opportunities in the documentation there.
So, have you identified the potential like NAICS codes for your particular services in which you want to offer to the government?
Yes, and I believe we are getting the opportunities based on those NAIC code in the filter, and so you know, those NAIC codes are also, you know, pretty good at filtering it out. But even then, I guess the challenge we are seeing is we are seeing a lot of the opportunities, but the description of what exactly they need, the requirement, is kind of hidden like few layers below, and it's just you know, it's been a challenge to actually even understand what they need, and I'm not sure if that's just us.
Have you ever reached out to a contracting officer to, you know, address some of the questions or concerns that you have specifically?
We did reach out to a couple of them.
When these opportunities do come out?
Yes, and to be honest, we didn't really get any real answers. It was mostly like, we'll let you know when we have more information, kind of.
Hi, can I chime in?
Sure.
Hello, I don't know if you can hear me or not, but I've been listening to Sable's question. Oh, great. So what happened is, in the past, I've done this and I've had the same question, great question, hard problem to overcome, but exactly right. That boilerplate you're talking about seems to be everywhere. And the more money involved, the bigger the boilerplate. And he's probably looking for, like all of us, an easier way to just decipher all that and get to the point, like, what is this bid for? It would be great if it was in the upper left-hand corner, for instance, and there was kind of a way that they all were, you know, like a certain system that they followed, but they don't. So my point is, what I've done is I've found certain keywords that either precede or follow, usually within the same question. Just do a Control F and, you know, search for certain words that are indicators of the actual type of work that's being done in the bid itself. And that has helped. Now, I can't give specifics, but for your problem, but in the past, I'll give one specific instance where it helped. I had a bid that was like 14 pages long, and there were tons like this. And here's just one. All I did was, and it was for radiation detection equipment for positron emission tomography and stuff like that, very detailed stuff. So you can imagine, went on and on and on. So I did a Control F, and I just said, words that were indicative of a need, and just phrases, even like this bid is for blah blah blah. It could be whatever, and keep a record of what those are. And we found a system, and I can't remember what they are, and maybe for our next series too, I'll look that up and share it. But my point is, a quick Control F was able to find out, and it was like on page 13 in the middle. And boom, there it was, what it was all about. And then it was just a short little paragraph of what it was actually talking about. And then you were supposed to email somebody else to get more detail. And the rest was just boilerplate, exactly. And it was almost like this was just a cover sheet, like a cover letter on a resume. And then you have to go to the next step to get to the resume to find out the details about who you're going to hire. So anyway, I hope that helps.
All right. Yeah,
that was
thank you for the, yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for speaking up. I think, let me just add and maybe ask a little bit on that one.
We are running out of time here. We've run a bit over time, and we still have 2 more questions. So if we could keep it as short as possible.
Sure. The challenge is not only that it's deep, hidden deep inside, and yes, searching by a few keywords helps, but you're getting 25, 30 of them every day, and
yes.
we want to be finding these, and so it has almost become like a person's full-time job to just decipher these.
And it is, and I can share more with you tomorrow. I'll have more notes to share, and maybe we can offline talk about this. And by the way, I'll probably share my email tomorrow if there's a way we can do that. Maybe there's a list we can share. I don't know.
Well, I'm going to share my email here, so
okay,
feel free to reach me. Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. You're welcome to enter your contact information to the chat window, as long as you select to everyone. All right, thanks, gentlemen. DBRIC is asking, is BidNet a good idea?
So I know with I don't have too many I don't know too many businesses that particularly use it for my clients. And I know they canvass like the entire U.S. For those opportunities. I would say that if you can narrow it down to specifics, and for example, if you want to be doing business specifically in a certain area, and you have to weigh the pros and cons, in terms of if it's worth it or not for you, because every business is different, right? So it's kind of like to each his own. I don't have a lot of clients that use it, but it might work out really well for you.
All right, and we have one last question here. Monica McCafferty is asking, how do we find awarded contracts for our services?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, James.
Monica is asking, how do we find awarded contracts for our services? So I'm assuming this is a market research effort.
Right. So I do know that there are different websites. Like there's an Office of Management and Budget that you can search to look up awarded contracts. I believe there's on the GSA, I believe .gov and FBO or FBO.gov as well. You can find that information out as well. And if you need me to kind of lay out those steps for you, I know we're a little bit of a time crunch, but just send me an email and then I can kind of put together some steps for you for that as well.
And if you're a Norcal PTAC client, we can also assist with that marketplace research. We have a website called GovSpend that we use to pull prior information about awarded contracts. So, all right, we've reached the end of our Q&A here. So thank you again to Charles, and thanks for everyone for joining. We'll cut things off now, but I want to let you know that you will receive an email from me shortly. This will have a link to a survey that we'd really appreciate if you fill out to let us know how you felt about this webinar. We're always wanting to improve our services. And I do apologize for the technical difficulty we incurred halfway through. These things do happen in the era of Zoom. And as promised, there will be a recording of today's presentation, and the slides will be posted. The email I send with the survey will also give you a link where you'll be able to find these resources no later than tomorrow. Once again, thanks for joining our Federal Marketplace Success webinar, and have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.